Oh my goodness, over here is the all-new Alfa Romeo Junior. It is finally here, but I have a big question to ask all of you. Is this a revolutionary Alfa Romeo? Because there's something about this Junior that's very different to what I know of the Alfa Romeo, or at least what I expected from the Alfa Romeo brand. This Alfa Romeo Junior costs 43,000 euros and it is electric, with an electric motor that produces 156 horsepower. However, it should be noted that it shares the exact same platform as the Peugeot 2008. Now, to disguise that Peugeot aspect, they've tried a lot by putting the Alfa Romeo badge just about everywhere, and I'm not entirely sure it's working in their favor. I mean, look at this. Alfa Romeo badge right here, Alfa Romeo badge right there, Alfa Romeo badge right here, Alfa Romeo badge right here. It's nice what they've tried, but I feel like it's a bit exaggerating. They have abandoned the signature Alfa Romeo design. Instead of putting the badge here between the bonnet and the grille, they decided to put it here. Why? This has to be one of the first times I've ever seen an Alfa Romeo with 4 bolts on its wheels, because traditionally Alfa Romeo's always had 5 bolts, like we've seen on the Tonale and on the Stevio. Now, something else I found very surprising is that this is the first time they've gotten rid of the Alfa Romeo badge onto the rear. Instead, they went down the route of complete simplicity, and I'm not sure if this works for this Alfa Romeo. It's supposed to be flamboyant and passionate. And also understand the kind of design they were trying. The fact that they have this kind of design, it resembles something from the 90s. I'm just trying to think, maybe it could be a reference to Maserati. Listen to the sound of the door. The metallic effect. It's very similar to Peugeot. I like this metallic effect afterwards. It's not as interesting as the Volkswagen Group, but it's still good. But there's a little problem. Each time I open the front door and close it, the back door shakes a lot. Check this out. You'll notice for a nanosecond there's a lot of shaking going on above. And now over to the interior of the Alfa Romeo Junior. It still doesn't disguise the Peugeot-ish aspect of it. I mean, to me, I looked at the interior, it's so obvious it's Peugeot related. But then, to be fair, the steering wheel is good. I'm impressed with it. The thickness is good. The size of the steering wheel is also good, but the feel, it's a bit on the firm side. The buttons look very similar to what I've seen in Opel. Again, Stellantis thing, right? This is the most Peugeot thing ever. Like, the air vents for some reason face the passengers. This infotainment system faces me. Now the steering wheel is adjustable. You can move it up, down, in and out. That's decent. The way they've designed this area, it kind of reminds me of the Nissan Juke, the first generation Nissan Juke. It had this prominent build over here. And they put the start stop button right there to give it a more sporty effect, which is, I think, the best part about this Alfa Romeo. But then as soon as you look at the door, it looks as if it came straight from a Peugeot, because you look at the window buttons, they have not changed at all. It's just plastic, and there's hard plastic above on the windowsill, and there's this material which I'm not familiar with, and there's a door bin right here which is deep. It's good. Now, I forgot to cover the electric seating adjustments. I like these cup holders you get down there with adjustable walls. That is decent, and you can even use it as a storage space if you find your central console storage small, because look at this. Central console storage is tiny, and look at this cover. Bit budget. And then for the rest, you get a wireless telephone recharge right here with charging ports on both sides and a USB point as well. That is good. That's decent. And then you get a glove box, which is, I think, the best thing about this interior so far in terms of practicality. Up here, nothing going on. You get this soft touch lights, which on and off. That's good. But there's no sunroof or any panoramic roof. Now, looking at the instrument cluster and the infotainment system, it is very similar to what you've seen in a Peugeot, except this one is an updated system, it seems, because the Peugeot used to have it all blue before, whereas now it seems to be all black and white, I'd say. It's good. It shows you the built-up areas, the hills. I get the feeling that the Volkswagen Group are just perhaps one step ahead, because they tend to give more details, like where you have the forests and where you have the built-up areas and where you have the hills, but with a better quality to it. But this is not bad at all. This is actually really good. I'm impressed. Press on the menu button right here to get to the climate controls. Now we are outside the navigation. That's good. But it took me a while to figure this out. So there's something very different about this Alfa Romeo. You get heated seats, and for the front seat passenger as well. It's decent, but just something I have to get used to. Then the big question is, how do I get back to map? Okay, so I have to press this again. Something about this infotainment system is a bit different. Now I figured this out after 10 minutes. If you want to leave the navigation, you have to click on the home button right here. This took me 10 minutes to figure it out. I thought everything would be in the infotainment system, like in the Volkswagen Group or BMW. I like the red light effect you get on the side of the instrument cluster, by the way. Now it's time to check out the rear seats of the Alfa Romeo Junior. So, again, the entire door is really similar to my experience with other Stellantis Group crossovers. Just all plastic, and there's a pocket to pull it closed. The view outside is a bit limited, I feel. It's a bit, yeah, it reminds me of my experience in the Toyota CHR. There's no armrest right here, nothing. And you get this huge lump of plastic with no purpose except for one single charging port. So I will have to argue with my fellow passenger as to why I am entitled to that charging port, not them. Now it's time for us to check out the boot space of the Alfa Romeo Junior. Now in terms of practicality, this is where I think the Alfa Romeo shines, just like the Peugeot 2008. Boot floor, you get three solutions. You can either have it all the way down there, or you can have it until here, which I'm going to try doing right now. See? Or you can have it all the way up there to make it a flat floor space. Easy to put the luggages in and out. You can slide the items, and because this is hard plastic, it won't get damaged easily, but then I still recommend you be careful with it in long terms. The license plates are usually at this area, so just be careful with the license plates in long terms. So here's my conclusion of the Alfa Romeo Junior. If you were looking for a sporty alternative to the Jeep Avenger or the Peugeot 2008, this is the car for you. But if you were expecting serious Italian passion, I feel like the Stevio still wins my heart, because there's something about this car that just doesn't seem to convince me all that much. But then I guess that's not really entirely the philosophy. The philosophy of this car is availability, because let's think about the big picture. This is an electric small crossover SUV with an Alfa Romeo badge to it. So you see where this is going. Brings me down to a big question. Is this the most revolutionary Alfa Romeo out there? Yeah, I think so. And I'm not entirely sure if this is something to be proud of, but then that's not entirely something negative. Because on the positive side, brands have to evolve. Brands have to compete with another brand. And Alfa Romeo is not the only one going on this route. Volkswagen did the same thing. Audi, Porsche, everybody has gone on the same route. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.